Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Pritchard, and I am the chair of the Lafayette Parish Democratic Parish Executive Committee, the DPEC. And I am the DPEC is an elected body that is for that any of you can run for. If you live in Lafayette Parish, can you hear me? If you live in Lafayette Parish, you're a registered Democrat. You can run for the DPEC. Democratic Parish Executive Committee. And what we do is we do voter registration and party visibility like this. This is great visibility for our party. So we meet on the third Thursday of every month at the downtown library in Lafayette at the corner of Congress and, not St. John, Congress and, help me. I can talk closer to the mic. All right, so DPEC elections are next year. If you're interested in running for the DPEC, ask me, or I'm going to introduce our DPEC members that are here today. We have Clancy, right here, Clancy Ratliff. Scott LeBleu is also a candidate for House District 45. He's on the DPEC. Mike LeBlanc is here somewhere. Where's Mike LeBlanc? He was here. So Mike LeBlanc is also here, and I would really like to give a big shout out. If we could give a cheer for Mike LeBlanc. He booked the park, he got the insurance, he got here early. He really and truly hustled to get this all to happen. So if you want to run for the DPEC, $37.50 or 400 or fewer signatures, you can come over and you can go to the Secretary of State's office, the Clerk of Court's office, and you can qualify to be a candidate for the DPEC. The elections happen during the presidential primary next year. So I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping. Please make sure that you throw trash in the trash cans and that you be careful of fire ants and poison ivy. And then I'd like to thank our candidates. Their sacrifice and commitment to the community does not go unnoticed. For candidate speeches, I'm going to allow about 7 minutes. I'm not going to time you. I'm not going to hold up a red card. And you speak for about 7 minutes according to the order you are on the Secretary of State's website. That's how I invited everybody, and that's the order we'll go. I actually have one candidate who has an event an hour away, so these statewide candidates may swing in and swing out. I'm going to start with Dustin Granger for treasurer because he's got an event after this. So everybody, Dustin Granger.
What's up, Lafayette Democrats? How y'all doing? It's good to see such a good crowd, man. A lot of great candidates. Y'all are doing good over here in Lafayette. My name is Dustin Granger, and I am running to be your next state treasurer. Only Democrat on the ballot, so it's an easy choice. And I want to remind everybody here that Democrats are the jobs party. Yeah. We are the party of economic growth. We are the party of progress, of diversity.
That's right.
And we have to stand up and own it, because too many people think that the other party are somehow good with money. Not really sure how this has happened, because Democrats are always having to clean up Republican messes. Decade after decade. Anytime there's a financial crisis or something, it's easy to see what has happened and who's responsible for it. So after we're done picking up Republican messes, then we bring a lot of growth and jobs, and we've proven that time and time again. The other party, they only have trickle-down economics. Does anybody know what trickle-down economics is?
Heard about it.
Giving all the benefits to the people at the top, and then it's supposed to just trickle on down, and then, then of course the wealth will reach everybody, which never happens.
It's the most insulting thing ever.
Yes, it's very insulting, because they give tax cuts only to the rich and to the big corporations, and they pay almost nothing. And then what happens? Budget crunches, and then whenever we have a budget crunch, The first thing is on the table is cutting public investment in people, in health and education and access and infrastructure. You can't be cutting these things that bring the growth. Then they raise taxes on the working class with sales taxes. And then it starts all over again because it leads to more poverty, more brain drain. People start leaving the state. And then Republicans say, well, I guess we need to cut taxes even more. And then it creates a downward spiral. Well, those things, cutting taxes at the top and cutting public investment, are not popular. But they get away with it by using politics of division, by using it as a weapon of division, of divide and conquer, by pitting working people against each other, pitting black and white people against each other by using race dog whistles. And that's the problem that we're in Louisiana. And I'm running for Louisiana State Treasurer because I'm sick and tired of watching this happen decade after decade. I've been a financial advisor for 20 years. I know how economic works. I've helped working families not only to achieve their goals, but I've helped them through tough economic times of Wall Street greed, like the 2008 financial crisis, and also natural disaster. I live in Lake Charles, and we've been destroyed by a hurricane 3 times in the last 15 years. It's getting old. And the treasurer is a financial advisor of the state. They're supposed to watch over our finances and make sure that it's being used for you. The treasurer doesn't work for the governor. It doesn't work for the legislature. They work for you, and they're supposed to make sure that it puts money in your pockets. And that's what I'll do as treasurer. Because the thing that always works in economics is investing in people. People are always the engine of growth in any economy. It's not what's under our feet or what's underground. It's people. So we have to end the giveaways at the top, invest in health and education and access and infrastructure. And then the value grows and blooms from what we have as people. People need the capacity, the tools to be all they can be and stay in their communities, invest, innovate, and start businesses. That's how you grow an economy, and that's how Democrats do it. But we're at an inflection point, y'all. We can't afford to be set back anymore in this state. We're last at everything, or almost last. Mississippi's got us beat on a few things, but it can get much worse because the Republicans are doubling down on all these bad ideas. I have 2 little girls, 8 and 5 years old. I want them to grow up in a state that they love and want to live in and want to stay. We have a lot at stake, and we need all of us to turn out. We need to get our people, especially all y'all in the local elections. Let's get people out and vote, and we can turn this state blue. We can do it. We have the numbers. So I'm asking y'all to follow me. I'm running for next state treasurer. Go to grangerforlaw.com. Help in any way you can. I will do whatever I can to help y'all as well at the top of the ticket and get people out, get people energized. So thank y'all very much. Dustin Granger.
All right, thank you. Another hand for Dustin Granger. So now I'm going to invite a representative from the state party to come and talk on behalf of the statewide candidates that are not here. And so without further ado, I am going to announce Amber.
Hello, Lafayette. How are y'all today?
Hello, great.
Good. I'm with the Louisiana Democratic Party, and we are here to represent not only the statewide candidates, but also local candidates up and down the ballot, right? So while we all know that it is important to vote for our statewide, you local candidates are more important than anything to your cities, okay? You know the problems that are happening here better than anyone else. So we need to make sure that we get your local constituents out to vote for all of you as well as the statewide. We need to make sure that we are taking 5 people to the polls with us, 10 people to the polls with us. Every single person here has a community. Make sure you're getting there, you're educating your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, and you're taking them with you, okay? My information is available readily for any questions that y'all may have and to help every single candidate. So my name again is Amber Russ. You can reach me at the local Party in Baton Rouge. My email is aruss@lademo.org. You can call my personal cell phone anytime for any assistance that you may need. But please, please, please get the community out to vote, vote, vote. There's a lot at stake this year, okay? So if you need any help, without further ado, we will hear from the rest of the candidates and have you some food and a good time. Mary? Who's next? Here we go.
Thank you, Amber. All right, so at this point, I am going to invite, so I'm going to go down the list. I can tell you that the responses I got, I'm going to tell you the people who responded. So Gwen Collins Greenup was not available to come today. So now I'm going to invite Mr. Arthur Morrell to take the mic. He's running for Secretary of State.
Good afternoon. How are you? My name is Arthur Morrell, and there are 5 other candidates running. And if you took all their qualifications and put in one bowl, they don't match mine. I was in the legislature for 23 years. I was clerk of court for 16 years. I've been practicing law for 40 years. And for those of you who didn't know, I race horses. So I'm down here quite often. And I enjoy coming here. I retired from the clerk's office last year, and I went back practicing full time. But quite frankly, I got bored. So when Kyle wasn't going to run, and I know Kyle, I've been knowing him for 40 years, I said, well, it's time for me to get back, and here I am. I got permission from my wife to run, but I got to take on a little trip, so that's fine. Let me tell you how important the Secretary of State's position is. If you have an election down here and the governor didn't like the outcome, he could ask the Secretary of State, don't certify the votes. Then we're in trouble. That's what happened in Georgia when the president tried to get the Secretary of State of Georgia not to certify the votes, or they recounted them 3-4 times until he said, I can't do it anymore. But that's how important it is. My job is to make sure that your voting rights are fair, that the count is correct, and you can't go no more than say you have to have someone there that's going to do it right. And I've done it right for 16 years. I've never had an election that was delayed. I've never had one that was questioned. After the count was over, it was certified because they couldn't prove anything. And that's the way I'm going to do it in Baton Rouge. My job and the Secretary of State job, the clerk's job and the Secretary of State job is almost the same. The difference, he has 600 employees, I had 95 employees. His budget was almost $100 million. Mine was, I couldn't tell you what it is because in New Orleans, the city pays my budget. So I couldn't tell you what it is, but I'll tell you what, every time we needed something, we got it. Because we know having a fair election, safe election is important. And my commissioners, they're the most important people in the electoral process. Because they're the first person someone sees when they go to vote. And that person gives a good impression and the day goes fine. I compliment them every time. I tell them, quote, y'all did a very great job. I'm getting all the accolades, but they did the job. But I've always gotten along with our commissioners. We retrain them before every election, make sure that we're up to date on any laws that may have changed. I'm from New Orleans. My father's from New Roads. My mother is from an area in New Orleans used to call Low Spanish Fort. It's a fishing village down by the lake. But anyway, I enjoy being clerk. Some people ask me, why did you leave? I said, well, I thought I'll just retire. My son said, Daddy, you retired from the legislature. You retired from the clerk's office. Now what are you doing? I said, I may have retired, but I'm not tired. So I'm back. And I encourage anyone Don't just stop. You want to do something, do it. You keep moving, you live longer. Some of my friends that have retired, they go home, they look at the TV, they may go to a game or maybe shopping. Next couple of years, their children or their spouses are enjoying their retirement. So I'll encourage anyone, don't stop, keep going. You can rest assured that every election that I'm over when I'm Secretary of State will be on time, every time, just like in New Orleans. And the count will be certified. If someone tells you that we need to have paper ballots, throw that out of the window. That could be corrupt. That could be hype. But what we have in this state right now are the best machines. They may be old, but they're very good because they're accurate. And if you want to recount, it's easy. The only paper ballots the clerks deal with are absentee ballots, military ballots, or fax ballots. And that's usually 200 or 300. That's the only one that they recount. The rest of them are checked and double checked before they're certified by the Secretary of State. And if they can come up with another machine just as good, I'm all for it. But I don't want a piece of paper say I voted and someone get it and say, oh, you voted for so-and-so. You told me you weren't going to vote for that person. Voting is private. You do it, you don't have to tell someone who you voted for. So the best machines we have right now, what we have. If we can come up with a better one, I'm all for it. That's where I keep my shop straight, safe, and accurate. The integrity of our system has been good because we've had good results. I'm going to be up there. Y'all going to see me down here after I'm elected because I travel a lot, especially with my horses. But anyway, I have a lot of friends here, a lot of friends. But I want to thank you very much for letting me come here and say a few words. I can see now how the Democrats down here are powerful. You know, the Democrats are the ones who follow the Constitution. The Republicans follow something else. They make it up as they go along. But they lose because they don't follow the law. And that's what I will do when I'm Secretary of State, follow the law. Thank you very much. Have a nice time. And I've met a lot of nice people here, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Morrell. Thank you so much. So stick around, candidates, if you can, stick around and walk around as people start to show up and eat some dinner. All right, so the next candidate on the list is Preston Castillo for Bessie District 8.
Thank you. My name is Preston Castillo. I'm running for re-election for Bessie District 8. How many of you know what Bessie is? I saw 1, 2 hands. And I asked that because 4 years ago when I ran and was elected, I was speaking, and after about my 4th or 5th speech, someone said, you know, most people don't know what the Louisiana State Board of Elementary and Secondary Education is. And I thought to myself, well, that's a shame, because it is the most powerful board, I think, in the state of Louisiana. We set policy for education all across the state. It touches you in your home, it touches your children, it impacts your life, it makes a difference in terms of what you're going to make. It makes a world of difference. But all too often, we don't realize how important these boards are. When you look at that school and every school around this parish and around this state, we are touching them. We are setting policies that impact your children's lives. So, for example, when the far right wing of the Republican Party comes in and they say we should whitewash history, that we should water down the history of this country in such a way that you can't recognize it anymore, someone needs to understand where that happens. It's not just on social media. It's not rhetoric. It is the real thing. And if you don't have people standing in the gap, protecting what our children are learning every single day, and insisting that more resources are poured into our communities, financially to make sure that your children get the best education possible, that we pay teachers a fair wage, then we are all going to have problems. So this might sound like pie in the sky stuff. And I say it this way because I realized a long time ago that sometimes people don't realize the impact of this position. We know what governor is, we know what treasurer is. Why is this personal to me? Who is Preston Castillo and why is he running? So I grew up in St. Landry Parish. I started off in Port Barre. I lived on Bayou Catawba in a shotgun house. Our family was poor, and we graduated from living on Bayou Catawba to the projects of Opelousas. We lived in the projects. I lived on welfare and food stamps, and my single mother worked as hard as she could to ensure that we had a successful life. We ultimately moved to another school. That school changed my life in so many ways because of educators who poured into me and to my brothers and sisters. I graduated from Pleasant High School in 1985, valedictorian of my class. I then went on to Southern on a full scholarship. I became student body president at Southern University. I graduated from Southern. I worked as an economist. I came back from Washington, D.C., where I worked for the U.S. Department of Labor, and I came back and I went to law school at Tulane. I graduated from Tulane, and then I looked back that I couldn't believe when I showed up the first day. I'd become a law professor at LSU. The first day I showed up as a law professor at LSU Law School, I found myself tearing up because I looked in the class and I looked around and I realized that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, someone like me could never, not only not teach law school, but attend law school at an LSU. I've taught at LSU for 8 years. I taught at Southern University's law school for 20 years. I teach education, law, and policy. And why is that important? That is important because I'm right now teaching future leaders, lawyers, policymakers, legislators, judges about what it takes for education, policy, and law. When these candidates for legislature get up and talk, and when they talk about policy, I bet you at least one of them will say that the laws that we create around education is important. Because it's important that we insist that our children can read, and if they're educated, and if they can read and write, and that they can numerate, then they have a chance of transforming their lives. I run for my children, but I also run as an example. When I come here to Heymann Park and I look around this neighborhood and I see our children, I know that they can change, they can be whatever they want to be in life, just like all of you. Now I look around and there's mostly candidates here today. But I want to send the message. My district, District 8 that I've represented for 4 years, I'm now the current vice president of the board. I had the privilege of having my colleagues say, Preston Castillo, little boy from Bayou Catawba and Port Barre, from the projects of Opelousas, we now want you to help lead our board. We want you to chair 2 of the most important committees on our board. We want you to chair the academic goals and instructional improvement committee. We want you to chair our school improvement and turnaround committee. We want you to be president of our board. I actually declined the opportunity to be president, and I was elected vice president because I wanted to put more time into what I do every day. This is an incredibly important job to be on Bessie. We have 11 members, 8 of us are elected. I represent District 8 and what we do every single day, what we fight for every single day, for our students, for our teachers, to make sure that they get a living wage. I am proud that I fought and was able to get Bessie to recommend a pay raise that was approved by the legislature. I was proud that this year we were able to get approved another recommendation that went to the legislature. It only became a stipend. And we're going to come back again next year. But I am so proud that me, Preston Castillo was endorsed by the Louisiana Association of Educators. Educators all across the state of Louisiana said, Preston Castillo, thank you for what you're doing. You keep your doors open. You talk to us, you return our phone calls, you respond to our text messages. We see in you an advocate for all teachers across the state. We see in you an advocate for all children across this state. I am only disappointed that I'm not eloquent enough to reach everybody in this audience, such that you truly understand the impact of this role and what we can do to change this country for all children, no matter where they grew up, if they grew up on a bayou, whether they grew up in the projects, whether they're on welfare, whatever it is that they've started off in life as, they can be whatever they want. When you can inspire people to change their lives, when you can impact children in the way that we have, it is a remarkable thing. And I want to thank all 14 parishes, all of my constituents who have supported me over the last 4 years. Because a lot of people say this is a statewide election. You're up here speaking first. You must get paid a lot of money to do this. Anybody know what Bessie members get paid? How many? Anybody know? We get paid $0 to do this. We run as if we're running for Congress. Why? Because we care about children. What do we get paid for? The respect and the love of our children who appreciate what we do. You couldn't pay me to do this job. Not in money. But every day when I look at your children, and I look at my children, all 3 of them, and I know that I'm changing their lives with the policies that we've set. I'm proud to serve as your district aide member on the Louisiana State Board of Education. My name is Preston Castillo, number 45 on the ballot. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you. God bless you.
And I was negligent in announcing that Lindsay Cheek planned on being here, but she couldn't make it. She is running for Attorney General. So our next speaker, also for Bessie, District 8, is Dolores, goes by Didi Cormier Zeno.
Hello, Democrats. Hello, Lafayette. Wherever you're from. Hello, Louisiana. My name is Dolores Cormier Zenon. Yes, on there it probably says Dr. Dolores Cormier Zenon. I have a doctorate in education. I'm also a teacher of 25 plus years, and my career has been at all levels. I have taught in public, private, parochial, charter, and at university level. So I've taught across. My experience expands beyond the classroom. While I served as the national and international president of Association of Supervision and Curriculum Instruction Development, and that is ASCD. I am a national board certified teacher and actively involved in working with teachers and mentoring them through this process. So as a result, we have had 1,995,000 teachers in the state of Louisiana certify as national board certified teachers. They are more reflective teachers. They are a teacher that goes to the classroom and works with the student where the student is to bring the student where they need to be. I am in the trenches. I am living this experience. I am an educator. So I know that as a Bessie member, the reason that I'm running is so that I can make a difference for the students, parents, and teachers in Louisiana. Because I know what it takes to be in a classroom. I've been there. I am there. I know what it takes to be a parent. I've been there. I still am there. Because your kids, they grow up, they never leave. They're still your hearts, okay? And I have students now that I'm working with to help them bridge their gaps. We have a problem, yes, with literacy, but we can solve that problem together. We also have a problem with accountability. Together, we can solve that problem. I'm going to need your help. And together, even though I sit on the seat, I want to hear from you. I want to continue to be visible, continue to have your voice heard. hence Voice for Education. Because you know what it takes. You know what you're feeling. You don't need us to tell you. But at the same time, sitting in a position that can help move things for you, that's what I'm about. Authentic teaching and learning. It's time that our kids can read, write, and comprehend. It's time that our kids move forward and can actually acquire and access the things that they deserve. It is time. Scholarships, all of those things should be available for our children. A lot of times we don't know it because we're not close to it. But as a teacher, as a parent, as a community-minded individual, I'm also very active in the community. And I will tell you, I have scholarships with me, by the way, to give people if you're interested. There's a scholarship that's coming out in November, and I have the paperwork for you guys to fill it out. It's a $40,000 scholarship. Each child just needs to be a senior. So I want to get you the money out because college debt is real. And we really need to help our students to be who they are grown to be, who they're called to be. So my name is Dolores, Dr. Dolores Cormier-Zenon. I'm a National Board Certified teacher. I am a teacher that comes from a long line of past educators, Patricia Coble Cormier being one, my mother and my greatest inspiration. So I want to serve the students, parents, and teachers of Louisiana. Thank you. Number 46.